Hey, welcome back. This is part two of Community Weaver 2.0, just going over the program and showing you different features. In the first section, we know we covered my account and the home page and logging in. Next thing we're going to talk about is giving and receiving. We're going to go over this tab right here, all of them except for this bottom one. I think that record and exchange warrants its own lesson because there's a lot of ins and outs there that it's very easy, but there's just a lot to go over. So we're going to say that for the next lesson. We're also going to talk about the example pages, the user-created example pages, and the user-created blogs, which are relevant because you'll usually use these to talk about what's going on in here. So this will all kind of be in the same lesson. Let's go ahead and just click right on the tab itself on Give and Receive. And what we're going to see here is basically what we call a community asset catalog. It shows you at a glance all the different categories that a service is going to be offered under and how many are available under each. So these are both needs and offers. So, right, for instance, help at home here, you can click on the column heading, or the title heading, I should say, and it shows you side by side. Here's some requests having to do which were categorized for help at home, and here's some offers. So if we browse through these right here, we can see that there's probably going to be some corresponding ones in there. So it's nice to see both side by side because a lot of times you'll have offers that you have, but you also might have requests and see that one might match yours. So it's just good to see those both side by side. Let's go ahead and click back on Give and Receive. Up across top here, we can also look at just browse all requests. So these are just requests that have been made. So if you're willing to do some volunteering and help out some people, this is where you want to come. So you can see what people need and see what might matches the skills that you have to offer. You can sort them by any category. So if you, for instance, do wellness or whatever down here, it'll show up just things which are under wellness, which should be down here, I'm assuming. So that's how that works. You can also do it by neighborhood and affiliation. So this has to do with if you have multiple time banks in certain neighborhoods, or sorry, regional time banks with small time banks within them. This way here you can kind of tunnel in so it can be relevant to your area. Keywords, so if you're looking for something, for instance, we saw gutter work earlier, so if I search for gutter in here, it would show all the different people who are requesting gutter work. And also you can also browse just by username. So if you are looking for someone in particular who needs services and they might have a lot of requests, you can sort by them, or if you talk to that person or their name came up and you're trying to figure out what they were actually asking for, this is a good way to search that. So you would just fill out whatever we wanted in here and click search, and it'll tunnel it down for you, which is great. Let's go back to Give and Receive. And we're going to look at view all service ads. So we have requests and offers, which are basically inverse of each other. Viewing all service ads brings them all up in one long list, so you can see everything by category. So it's kind of like the clearinghouse of assets up front, or the catalog of community assets on the front page of this, but they're kind of a little bit more organized this way. So we have offers and requests, and they're clearly marked here. In case right here, I'll go ahead and click on this person's offering to do some wood splitting. And right away, you got all the information you need. These are the times when he's available to do so. And he'll bring his log splitter to your home. He'll split wood for you, and he'll say, hey, it depends on how long it'll take and how much wood you have. And from here, as a user, you can just say respond to this post and say, dear, I'm very interested. All right. And down here, I'll say, I have some wood from a few trees that is stacked in my backyard. I would love to have you come out. Whoops. As you see, the spell check works, which is nice, especially for people like me. And have a look. Boom. So at this point, I can just click send messages, and what this will do is this will send a message to demo user, and it'll confirm it right there. So now the demo user, when they log into their page, they'll get a message saying, hey, you have a new message. They'll click on it, and we'll start that interaction. So you see, it's very simple to respond to offers and to requests because it's right here. The other links over here under action links, we also have record hours. So um, if I was the person who did the wood splitting, I would just come into here and I would click on this and it would create a transaction, which we'll go over in the next chapter. I just wanted to show you what that looked like. I also can look at similar ads from the same category as we're at, and other useful links, which will always be post an offer, post a request, or send this member a message. So if I, just want to send them a message in general without necessarily responding to this particular offer, I say, hey, I have an old axe if you want it or whatever. This would be a good way to do it there. So that's a great little thing. Once again, communication between members is everything. So we really set it up so it's very simple to interface with each other. We're going to go back to give and receive, and we're going to plop down to view all members. Oh, by the way, and filling a request is the exact same way. So if I went to view all requests and top one right here, I could do the exact same thing where I could say respond to this and do the exact same thing. So they're both basically the same thing as far as the program sees. It's just whether it's an offer or request. The next thing is view all members. So this is great if you want to just kind of browse members and see if people are available. Maybe you have a community project which is going to take place on a Sunday morning, so you can just kind of real quick browse down here and say, well, I got a couple hits here where I might be able to reach out to these people. I'd probably just mark down their names and then just send one mass message to everybody, which would probably be the best way to do it. So just know that you can browse. There's multiple pages, next page, last page. It's typical that way of navigating. One more thing, always up here, there's a drill down menu, which will always tell you a hierarchy of where you are. So here we're under the home page, obviously, which is the whole site, and we're in the give and receive section, and we're under view all members. So you can always use this as kind of a navigation ad. If you want to go back to give and receive, for instance, you just click right there, and that's how that works. So viewing all members is super useful, especially because of this great thing down the side where you can see what everybody's availability is. Obviously here everyone's super dispersed because this is a sandbox. People are making addresses from all over the country and the world, but usually in a community they'll all be within obviously one area. We have a lot from DC, for instance, here, so in Maryland and Gaithersburg. So we do kind of have a general area right here at least, so that's pretty useful. And also it's just nice if you just kind of want to browse other members and maybe meet people with similar interests. If you want to take a look at Keith, for instance, here, and once again it'll show you his profile, and you might have some interest listed here or some external links or whatever, so he'll be able to you'll be able to just find out more about him or whatever. So the next one down is posting a service ad. So we basically have one page where you can post either an offer or a request. There was no point in making two pages, which basically the only difference is this particular attribute right here. So Drupal gives you a nice little hint whenever you get on these kind of pages saying, hey, this is some stuff to make your posts more effective and make it just easier for the community to offer services or to request your services. Do indicate level of urgency for requests. It's really important that the community knows if something is time sensitive, they can react appropriately. And also, if you're doing an offer, let's say for instance you want to offer Spanish lessons or English lessons, make sure that you say, hey, I'd like to do this, maybe 3 times a month. I want to hold classes on a Saturday, whatever. Just be very specific in here. That way that everyone knows exactly what the dynamic is before they reach out to you. So let's go ahead and make an offer. And we're going to do a couple different offers. I want to kind of go over some formatting stuff with you, and I think that doing 2 offers is probably the best way to do it. So the first one here is Nancy, who is us for all intents and purposes. Wants to offer some Spanish lessons, some Spanish and English lessons. She's happy to teach either the group or the other. So what she would be doing is she'd come in here, and I'm gonna type this real fast. Bonk there, highlight that, and it's gonna be Spanish lessons. Oops. I like that spell check. It keeps you from making a fool of yourself, which I'm doing whenever I try to spell. This is why I copy and paste most of the time of these things. And then the English lessons. Alrighty, so we have this and this filled out so far. So let's go back up and actually look at the most important part, which is this is important too, but the categorizing them is really what makes it useful for the community to be able to find it. So here we have Spanish and English lessons. So we can come out here, we can go, okay, this is going to be an education thing, and it's going to be languages and translations, and it's a class. So I'm going to go ahead and just check all three of these. I can check up to three for any given post. Anything more than three would just kind of over categorize it, and it would just show up everywhere. So this seems to make the most sense for this particular thing. So we're just going to stick with that. Once again, I'm making sure it's an offer. And now down below, let's kind of just dive into this box right here and these formatting things. The ones you're familiar with, obviously, is the bold and the italics up here. Very simple. You just highlight the text and then click the button, and it'll highlight it for you, or it'll make it bold for you. When you highlight it back again, you see that it says, hey, has a bold attribute. Do you want to turn it off? Sure. Boom, off and on. So that's great. You can also do in italics if you want to. If I had a list of things here, I could make a bulleted list with either bullets or numbers. It's pretty self-explanatory. And as anyone knows who make bulleted lists, they never look right. They always look silly. So I always end up just doing them manually. But if you want to do them there and you know how to do them, good for you. This is indenting. So if you have something that you want to make sure people are going to see, you could indent it and bold it, for instance. You could tab it over here a little bit and you could bold it or whatever. I'm going to undo those things. I'm just going to go ahead and try something else here. I'm going to go ahead and make it, I'm going to put it back. So I want to do it like this. So I'm going to put it back like that. I want to make this a hyperlink. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this link button up here, which creates a little box that comes up. And in here, this is great because you can not only tell it where you want to go, but you can also tell it how you want the window to open. Do you want to open up in the same window? You want to bring up a new tab in a different window so people don't lose where they are on your page? So actually, we'll just do that. So I'm going to go back to link info. We'll just type in any address. It doesn't really much matter. And then I'm going to go to target. I'm going to say, hey, I want this to open up in a new window. So that way, when someone clicks on it, you don't leave this window. It just pops open a new window right next to it. You can always click back on this tab if you have a tabbed browser, which if you don't, you really should by now. It's 2012, for goodness sakes. So this all looks good. And I am going to, one more thing is if you want to have it automatically bring their local email program up so they can send you an email, you can do that. But most of the time, just use the internal messaging. It's way more effective, and it's good to keep those messages separate from your otherwise otherly cluttered inbox if yours is anything like mine on your email program. So I'm gonna go ahead and click OK. And what's that's going to do is see how it's changed color. It might not show up here well in the video, but it's changed to a slightly light, kind of a grayish blue, so people know that that's a link now. And see if I hover over it, there, proof's in the pudding right there. And the image we're going to go over in a second, so I'm not going to cover that now. But also one more thing is I want to take the link off. I simply just unlink it with this button. So see how if I'm in this text, I can unlink it and then I can link it back. So once I get off that text, see, I no longer have that option. We talked about this briefly before, but like I said before, whenever you're pasting things, do try to paste. I actually wrote this text in Notepad, so I wasn't worried about it. But Word especially is a beast when it comes to markup language, which is, in case you don't know, it's kind of code that you don't see, which is behind the scenes, that computers and word processors and printers all use to figure out what the text is supposed to look like. Like this bold, for instance, this has on the back side of this somewhere in this program, it has a little /B telling me that this is bold. So with Word, it brings in all kinds of gibberish. So if you paste it with this button, what it does is it strips all that gibberish out and makes it so it's viable. You have a spell checking over here. I like the browser spell check, so that's not usually used that much, but it's there in case you need it. Lastly, you're going to want to tell the days that you're available to teach these things. So let's just say that these are going to be a weekend situation for her in the evening. And down below that, I can put an expiration date. So expiration dates are important to understand. What it does is it will only post that asset, be it an offer or a need, in the big catalog as long as it has a valid expiration date. What this prevents is stuff from 5 years previously being offered still staying up there. By all means, if you want to teach classes, for instance, in this case, and I'm willing to do this any time as long as I have a pulse. So I'm going to push it up to 2013, and I'm happy with that. So now I have a good 2 years where that'll be live. I don't have to worry about it. If I put a short 2 month expiration or whatever, there's a good chance that I might forget to renew it, and then it won't be there anymore. While it's an asset, it should be listed as long as possible. So it's important to have, but make sure that if it is something like we're doing here, to give it a pretty good long expiration date so it can have some legs. So we're gonna go ahead and save this. Just to review, we have it under education, classes and workshops, languages. It's an offer. It's Spanish lessons / English lessons, and here's something with a link in it and some bold. So that's all pretty exciting. And we're going to go ahead and click save. And what you'll see is, once again, Drupal has said, hey, this is a situation. You've just done this. It's happened. It's been written to the database. You can view it as we are right now. I can always go back in and edit it. This is only available to me as the original poster. It's not available to other people's offers or people who see this offer who aren't me, or in this case, Nancy. Once again, if I go back to the offers and the requests, and I look back down through here again, I'll be able to see that it's going to be listed in here. And if I go to browse all offers, we can scroll on down. Oh, right there, top, front, and center. There it is. So there's me. I'm pretty prolific here, apparently, when it comes to teaching. So that's nice. Let's go back to the post a service tag. This time we're going to post a request, and then after that we're going to post a one more offer of a different type. So request is there by default. Let's just say that Nancy's looking for some transportation. She has to go to the hardware store. So I'm going to click under transportation, and errands and shopping. That's about it. And local, why? Because it's just down the street. That should cover what we need to know. And I'm going to type in here super fast and type. Okay, look at that. It's great. As you can see, I have some formatting in here already, so I'm just going to pull that out real quick. I should have used the button like I just lectured you about, hey, I'm a teacher, right? So that happens sometimes. I just make mistakes. So what we're going to do is we're going to say I want to ride to hardware store. Alrighty, and once again, I could do all the formatting I wanted, but I just kind of want to go over just the fact that this is a request, and this is pretty much it. And this right here does have an expiration date, so I kind of really want to let people know, hey, this is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. So it's important that I put an expiration date on there, because after that, I don't need to go to the hardware store anymore. Someone's going to come in town and do it anyway. Like her son-in-law will be in town then anyway, so she knows she'll do it then, but she wants to get stuff before him, or whatever the case may be. This has got an expiration date. It has some urgency. So I'm gonna put urgent or urgency in this case by, let's just say what's today? Alright, Tim. There we go. Boom. I can type the word by. Let's just say it's the 23rd. Let's say by like March 15th. So we'll just do it like that. And that really should just be a slash. Alright. And I'm going to bold that just so people can see that. I'm going to italicize it too. And that works for me. And oh, by the way, you see this, because this is a post, there's no CSS in there like you have with the messages and some of the other things. So just be aware of that. And so that looks good. And I'm going to go ahead and change my expiration date to March 15th. Well, it'll work, whatever. And I'm going to save it. So what we have, and you know what? She can go anytime. Whenever you can do this, I'm down. So that's how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and click save. And now I've just generated this request. And once again, because it's a request, I can edit it. Since it's my request, I should say, I can edit it, I can view it, I can look at other stuff in here, I can look at transportation, see what's anybody offering rides. Boom, ride to hospital and local driving. This is the perfect person if I was Nancy. I'd come in here and say, hey, Keith, you know what? I want to get some help from you. And we've been through this before, but I just wanted to show you how that works once again. So let's go back and do one more thing, as I want to show you one more type of service ad, which I think is great, because this is so useful for me as a parent whose kid is growing out of their stuff faster than you can believe it, and I just don't want to waste any of these great stuff. So Miscellaneous, free stuff. That's right. And so if you have something, for instance, like Nancy here, her husband was a jazz drummer, huge fan of drumming. So he had all these drums, and now that he's gone, she's stuck with all these drums, and she doesn't want to throw them away, and she doesn't want to, but she wants to give them to people who really appreciate them. So what she's going to do is she's going to say this is an offer for free stuff, and she's going to check arts and crafts too, I would think, because she wants people to know that there's music in there. And so I'm just going to leave it just like that. So free stuff, music should be enough. I might just click miscellaneous since I have it. One more to do. Drums, drums, drums. Free to a loving home with thick walls. Sorry, it's pretty dark where I am right now, so I have a hard time actually seeing my keys. And here it says, my husband was a drummer, left me an amazing collection of drums and percussion instruments. I love to donate to them, yada, yada, yada. And then Nancy wants to put a picture in here so people will see how awesome these drums are. So this is the one thing I didn't cover when I was talking about this box, because this is a little bit confusing, so I kind of wanted to cover it real quick. So you know how it's in Facebook or Flickr or whatever, you want to upload a picture, it drives you right to your computer where you can browse for your picture. There's one extra step in here. Because this is the way Drupal works, and because it wants to make things available to all platforms, it really likes to handle how assets like images and videos are brought in. So what you're going to do is basically you can either link to another picture right here if you have a picture uploaded to Imgur or to PhotoBucket or whatever. If you use those kind of image hosting sites, that's very useful. Otherwise, you can upload one from your computer, but there's an intermediate step which you have to understand. So if I click on Browse Server, this is my bucket for Nancy's user for all of her photo assets. I have a certain amount of space in here that I can use. I'm using basically about half a meg of 10 megabytes. So there's plenty of room as long as you don't go hog wild with super high res stuff. In fact, it won't even let you bring in really high res stuff because there's nowhere for it to be displayed. So that's that. So I'm going to go ahead and upload a picture of Nancy's husband's drums. So I'm going to click on Upload, and I'm going to click on Choose File. Just to review, I click this button up here to bring this window up. That's going to bring me into, I have some time dollar stock right here. And in here somewhere I have a picture of some drums. So we're going to find that picture of the drums real fast. Here it is. And here's some pictures of Edgar doing various good things for people. So I'm going to double click on this. And it says, all right, now here's the deal. I can bring it up in all three sizes at once. So these are the three bucket sizes that Community Weaver will allow you to put pictures in. So if you want to make pictures specifically for posts and you're a Photoshop person, whatever, this is the sizes that they require. I'm going to bring all three in just so you can understand the concept of that. So what it's done is it's brought in a small, which is 90 by 90, a medium, which is 120 by 120, and a large, which is 180 by 180. I'm pretty happy with the large, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that and see how it has squared it out, but at least I got the drums in there. Remember, the picture is a little bit more of a 5 by 7 or a 2 by 3 aspect ratio, and now it's very 1:1. So all the images are square, so keep that in mind. And when I'm ready to go, I just make sure that that's highlighted, and I click on Insert File. And what you'll see now is you'll see how it's saying, okay, this is how it's going to look with the text. So you're going to have the picture here, and the text will be kind of off to the side and down below, and it'll look really bad. So I just wanted to show you that, says the program. So it gives me a chance to fix it, though. I can say, cool, I want to format to the left. Now we have something looking pretty good. I would love to have a little bit of a space. So I'm going to put a pixel here and a pixel there, just on the outside, just to give it a little bit of room to breathe. So the text is not right up against the image, and the image is not right up against the rest of it. And I'm going to give it a 2-pixel border, and that'll spread things out a little bit. And this is important here, and this is something that most people skip, and it's really important that you do it. Alternative text is this. See that little OK that appears in the gray box? The little cancel that appears in the gray box? That's what shows when people hover over the picture. And it's important because people who have vision problems or have needs where they can't look at pictures, for instance, on their browsers, this is what will show up instead. So you really want to be descriptive on to exactly what this is. I'm not going to be for time's sake, but um, pick of drum set. It's fine. I'm not going to be that specific, but you really want to be pretty liberal in here because this is what the people who are vision impaired use to be able to use the internet. You also have a couple other things. You can set a target once again. If there's a link there, someone clicks on the picture, it can take them to a bigger site or whatever, and how that window will pop up if you want to. Advanced, don't even bother about it, but this is what it looks like on the back side. This is a style. So I'm going to go back to image info, and once I'm happy with how it looks, and this is my placement text, this is called lorem ipsum, and this is like a placeholder text. You can see how things will look. I'm going to go ahead and click OK, and you'll see exactly what we wanted it to do. It gave me a little bit of space in there, which is nice, and it's now people can see the pictures of the drums, and I want to really let people know that this is what's important to me. That people want to, who are going to use them, I'm happy to give them to. So that whole exercise was really just to show you another way to categorize things, introduce you to free stuff, which I love because I'd give away half the stuff in my house if I knew it would go to a good home. Um, I'm sick and tired of moving it around. And then down below, once again, is the expiration date. I'm going to run this one really far in the future because I want it there until it's gone. So um, that's that. I've put it to a year ahead. And at this point in time, and people can come get it any time in the evening. How about that? Or any time on the weekend in the evenings. I'm gonna hit save, and Drupal will confirm that this has happened. And as you can see, there's the offer again, and people can come and browse that. So that's really about it. The last thing I want to kind of go over, now that we're done with give and receive, is the example page and the test blog. And these are in this chapter because I just don't really have anywhere else to put them. But they actually are really useful because, let's say for instance, I have a big community project I want to set up. So I want to I want to request a bunch of people to show up to do a big neighborhood alley cleanup, for instance. So I could use this example page, and here I could do whatever I wanted. I could make a map of the area we wanted to clean up. I could put news and a roster of how we're going to do it or a schedule, and I could make this page as a user that anybody who wants to could click on, and they would. So we could have like a big group page in here if we had one big huge community event, or maybe it was just a page about hey, here's some tips about local medical care or whatever resources you want to offer the community. You can make your own pages for them. They'd have their own tab up here. You can even make sub pages for them with sub tabs. So you can have a project heading and all the different projects underneath or whatever, just like these tree out. This would do the same. So that's just a great feature that allows each community, and on their own with no programming experience. By the way, it's all done in CSS, just like we've been doing in the other pages with the editing box. So you can make really neat stuff very, very easily. So that's great. Test blog or blog in this case. How programmers like to name things creatively. Test blog to demonstrate that this is a text blog. And what it is, it's a blog within the community, which the whole community has access to. And it's basically an online discussion. People can ask questions. People can post pictures or not pictures, but just descriptions of or comments about what's going on in their thing. Once again, here's another CAPTCHA I was telling you about earlier, which does not belong in the list. You have colors, and then you have a worm. So it's going to be that. So I just wanted to show you that different type of CAPTCHA. But so you can interact with the blog. You can have group discussions. You can do all kinds of good stuff with that. So that's how that works. It always makes you preview before you post. That way you don't you can always catch your spelling errors. So I just kind of wanted to show you that these two things are available. The coordinators can set them up. We won't even really go over how to do it. It's a very simple process. The nice thing about it is there's a huge community of help resources out there. I've just clicked on the help button up here, and what this does is it brings you to these three different options. So the first one is contact time bank coordinator. That'll take you right into a mail which will be sent to the principal coordinating group, and as you can see, everything's right in there. Once again, there's a CAPTCHA because of it's a submission form. You can contact Time Banks USA. That'll bring you to the contact page for Time Banks USA. This is the home page for Time Banks. It's a great site. It's got lots of great information and resources. You should definitely check it out. And it's a nice little WordPress site. There's Ager and Chris. So that's that. I'm going to go ahead and close this. And then the last one is the one I'm most excited about, which is the Community Weaver Online User Guide and FAQ. This is going to be our first introduction to the Action Hub, which we're going to really just do a super high flyover real quick, just so you know that it's there. But in general, what the Action Hub does is it's a big consortium where you can come in and talk to other developers and other time bank groups, where groups on a large scale can get together and say, hey, we need help, or we're looking to do this, or what are you guys doing? And you can do collaborations and all kinds of great stuff. But part of it is what we're worried about right now, which is the member manuals, the coordinator manuals, and the FAQs, and they're all right here too, and general questions and what have you. So if you're going to the member manual, for instance, it'll tell you, first off, as you know, it's a pretty straightforward thing, but it tells you all the different stuff. It breaks down, how to create an offer or request, and here's an exact list of exactly what you want to do. So that's really important. So just know that help is there, and it grows all the time because once again it's built by the community for the community. So the Action Hub is there, and it's a real lifesaver. So that's important. The last few bits and pieces up here is to contact us. This right here will send us a whatever you want to send to the developers and to the organization. Once again, here's another different type of CAPTCHA we have. Supervision is the word. What's the missing letter? These are so much nicer than they try to figure out what I'm reading with the scraggly letter ones. So just wanted to do that one more time with you. And that's basically it for the overall pages. Next, we're going to go over recording and exchange. We're going to look at that in depth, but for right now, I just kind of wanted to expose you to what I think is the most important part, which is the giving and the receiving. That's really what makes the community. And this page is going to be, once you have this page going, imagine you can just log on and see everything which is out there, which all the different assets which you community has to offer each other. You'd be amazed at how much you can help each other. So, like I said, next we're going to be covering exchanging, and then after that we'll go over the coordinator thing. So until then, have a good one.